Hello, listener. The fact you hear this means you're alive. If you're new here, consider subscribing and comment below where you're listening from. Let's begin the story. My name is Nate Calder, and I plan for lights to fail. I read meters, fix lines, and keep radios alive when diesel runs out. I am a blackout prepper, not a bunker hermit. I care about power, silence, and roots. It is Friday night over the Finger Lakes. Tourists pack cars, houses glow across the water. I sit at my kitchen table with a red headlamp. The shortwave scans. A DC system runs the room. My rules are simple. No noise if touch can do the job. No light unless needed. Tape the glass. Bleed the pipes. Log the facts. In a failure, guess once, then measure. When a plan breaks, write a new one and test it. On the wall hangs a paper grid map. Feeders, a few substations, and the small hydro dam on Kuka Inlet. I marked service roads. I know which fences sing when wind picks up. Metal calls them. The dead push in groups and hate stares. I keep a Faraday box under the sink with a handheld ham and a tiny SDR. Two 100-ampere-hour batteries sit on a cart with fuses. The fridge stays off. The chest freezer is wrapped and only opens on a timer. Fire is a flag. People think preppers hoard cans and buy camo. I stock gaskets, tape, filters, and maps. Food matters, but water and watts decide who can move. I can pasteurize a jug with a thermometer. I can fish without a flashlight. I can carry a kid and a battery, but not both all day. Neighbors call me the line guy. I fixed heat pumps in storms and loaned headlamps in August. Some teased, some thanked. On the radio net, I go by K2NC. I listen more than I talk. At 7:09 p.m., the frequency reading on my screen drifts. At 7:10, it wobbles again. That means a plant tripped or a line did. I text a friend at the substation. The message hangs. The house hum drops. The lights dim and catch. I flip the DC main. I shut the gas and water. I pull the breaker to the well pump. I close the blackout curtains. I move room to room and speak each action so I do not skip steps. The headlamp stays on red. I tape door latches so they do not click. I put the radio on low and scan for local traffic. Then the grid dumps. Streetlights go black along the ridge. The far shore vanishes in a blink. The marina bells stop. Dogs bark. Somewhere a generator coughs to life. It is loud and wrong for this night. I kill my inside lamp and wait. I count to 60. I count again. Across the water, a ferry horn blows 3 short blasts and then cuts. The sound hangs and then dies. I pick up the handheld and call my net once, short and clear. A woman answers out of breath and says she needs help now. I keep my voice flat and ask for location. The woman says Lower West Bluff by the marina store, white van on its side. Smoke, movement, no name. A crash, a shout, and the radio dies. I mark the spot and say the route out loud. Back alley, boat ramp, service lane. I pack a small ruck. Water, gauze, tape, 2 tourniquets, multi-tool, headlamp, handheld, spare battery, short pry bar, breakaway coat, foil blanket, paracord. The shotgun stays in the safe. A loud gun is a bell. I add a long screwdriver and a fiberglass hook pole. I kill House DC. The lake is a void. I cross the yard, hop the fence, and move along the tree strip. On gravel, heels are noise. I walk on the balls of my feet and count driveways without light. At the corner, a car idles and dies. A man curses. He does not hear me. I reach the boat ramp road. I tie cloth around the gate chain so it will not clink, lift it and slide through. A siren to the north starts, stops and stutters. Halfway down, I see a smear of flame on asphalt. I skirt it. A metal rattle comes from the marina yard. Hollow pipe, metal calls them. I go wide and pause every 10 steps to listen. A white van lies on its side by the store. The windshield is gone. A woman in a red jacket sits inside, seatbelt twisted on her leg, blood on her forehead. She points behind me. I do not look. I pop the rear latch with the screwdriver and climb in low. "June," she says, "EMT, my bag's under me, my knee is trapped. The belt cuts muscle." I slide the pry bar under and put the hook in her hand. "Hold. On 3, we lift and twist." The belt snaps. She wraps her knee with gauze. "Can you move?" She tests weight and shakes her head. Not fast. We leave out the back. Quiet. She reaches for her bag and freezes. A hand slides down the store window, fingers raw, nails torn, tap, tap, drag. We wait. The hand goes away. I whisper the route: hedge, dumpster, alley, kayak stairs. We move. June keeps one hand on my belt and one on the bag. The door scrapes inside the store. Something bumps the frame. I tip the dumpster lid and drop her bag inside so it will not jangle. We slip past. In the alley, a body lies face down. The skull is split. June reaches for a pulse and stops. "No time," she says. We keep going. At the stair, a chain hangs loose. I wrap it in cloth so it will not ring. We climb. 3 shapes press at the chain link below. They lean, surge, lean. The fence hums. We cross a deck and drop into a side yard. A grill blocks the gate. I lift it. At the street, we pause. "I can hop," June says. "You can lean," I say. We move house to house, fingers on siding. A car alarm barks twice and dies. The 3 at the fence turn and push until a post shifts. The chain link pings. We make the back alley and head home. A group runs by with phone lights. 5 people, loud and blind. They clip a trash can and send it skidding. The metal rings. A figure slams a fence, then another. The fence sags. We cut through a yard with a low stone wall. A shape crawls from under a deck, elbows wide, head low. It smells like rot. June whispers, "Not human." We freeze. It turns toward the ringing can and drags away. My house is dark. The back gate is shut with a wood latch. I open it with the hook. We slip inside and close it slow. I press my ear to the floor. No vibration. We lock 2 doors. I set the headlamp on red. June peels back gauze. The knee is angry. I heat water on an alcohol stove. I hand her a tablet and a bandage. "Why so quiet?" she asks. "They like vibration," I say. "Metal sings." "We don't." "Radio?" she asks. I call the net. Nothing. I scan. AM is awash. FM is dead. Weather is silent. I write, 2042, local silence, rescue complete, 1 injured EMT. June says, "I was 3 blocks from the station. People were already biting when the lights went." She adds, "They get mad at sound." A thud hits the side door. The handle turns and stops. Nails scrape wood, slow and even. We wait. The nails stop. Footsteps cross the porch and fade. I show June the basement. Water, food bins, DC cart, tool chest, and the coal chute hatch. "If they get in, this is the out. It jams if you go fast." She sets her bag by the hatch. Back upstairs, I pull a thin mattress to the hallway. I hand her 1 earplug. "Here with one, sleep with one." We kill the light and lie still. A shot cracks over the water, then a scream, cut off. At 10:11 p.m., something metal rings in the street. A lid, maybe a ladder. The note is bright. Steps answer from 3 directions. Then a run. Then many runs. The fence at the corner sings like a struck bell. On day 2, we start before dawn. June's knee holds if she locks it, so we plan short moves. I box 4 targets on the map. The closed middle school for shelter, the clinic on Ridge for meds, the boatyard for fuel cans, and the church kitchen for pots. Goal: roof, hot water, radio. We leave at first light with red tape on our sleeves to spot each other if lights die. I carry the ruck, a battery, and the handheld. June carries her bag and a broom-handled crutch. Metal echoes outlast voices, so we avoid loose signs and flexing fences. The school's front doors are chained, glass wired. We do not break glass. We slip a latch at a custodial door. We clear halls in pairs. 2 adults emerge, a woman holding a child who will not look up. June keeps her voice low and steady. I mark usable rooms and a single exit route with tape at knee height. The gym has floor drains. That matters. We can wash without flooding. We choose a corner with 1 door and set a triage line. Intake, hold, care. June tapes a list. Airway, bleeding, shock, pain, hydration. I run cable to the roof for a half-wave antenna and place the handheld deep inside on low power. By noon, we have 10 people. 3 kids, 2 older men, a teacher with a broken arm. We boil water on an alcohol stove in home ec and pasteurize with a thermometer. Fuel goes further than a rolling boil. We time and label each jug. We cook rice and beans and salt enough that people drink after. We set rules. Post them. No one moves alone. No loud tools without a second. Tape foam on metal carts. Tape latches so they do not click. Mask light leaks. Radios scan low. The back exit stays blocked. We test the front chain with a gentle pull so the metal does not sing. Kids get glow sticks and tape. Afternoon run, the clinic. 2 packs, a list, saline, gauze, tape, oral rehydration salts, IV kits, antibiotics if verified. We move along back lots and step on dirt or wood where we can. The waiting room is wrecked, so we cut to the supply hall. A push bar holds. I wedge it. We take what is on the list and ignore pills we cannot dose. A crash outside makes the frame buzz. We wait and leave by the rear lane. Back before dusk. June has minor wounds cleaned and wrapped. She sets a sick corner behind screens to control flow. A teen with engine grease on his sleeves watches the radio. He says his name is Leo and asks to help with power. I hand him cable ties. He routes the antenna lead clean and quiet. Day 3 starts with a head count and a plan to stock fuel cans and kitchen kits. Heat and hot water calm people in clean gear. 2 teams. I take Leo to the boatyard. June stays and trains intake and meds math. Boatyard gate, chain and padlock. I pad the chain with cloth, cut one link with a small saw and set it back so it looks whole. We pick 4 fuel cans. Leo finds a handcart with solid tires. We tape rattles and push slow. On the street, 3 figures stand and sway. Their heads turn together like they heard a small note. We hide in a hedge and wait. They drift toward a loose metal sign above a market. Wind nudges it. It chirps. They rub until the sign bends. Back at school, June posts what hurts, what changed, what broke. People write with a pencil on a string. The page fills. We fix what we can. A man in a deputy jacket knocks in our pattern. County dark, station down, few resources. He leaves a hand-drawn map and one warning. Avoid Route 54 at night. At dusk, we test sound. I wire a piezo buzzer to a long lead and hang it from a footbridge half a block away. A timer clicks once every 10 minutes. First click draws 2 in 5 minutes. Second click holds them, heads tilted. We learn they wait on a tone and drift when it dies. On the 4th day, we focus on food, water, and a clean aid cache. June posts a simple plan. Rice and beans at noon, soup at dusk, tea at night. Kids a little more, water workers more. I take 2 to the church kitchen and pull stock pots, trays, knives, salt, and bleach. We hit a small market by the alley. The front is smashed. We pry the back plate, lift the tongue, and push in. We take what lasts: rice, beans, oats, flour, oil, salt, tea. We leave bulged cans. We carry bins, not bags. On the way back, we detour by the footbridge. 3 still lurk by the buzzer. They do not look up. The timer clicks and they shift toward the rail. In the gym, June teaches 2 how to wash and wrap and how to say no when someone asks for antibiotics they do not need. I log battery use. DC ran lamps 8 hours and charged 2 radios. It can handle more if we cut lamp time. I post a load schedule. Charge at dawn, boil mid-morning, radios midday, lamps at dusk. Day 5 is the first big lift. The clinic holds gear behind a locked door. We ask the deputy to stand watch in the hall. June draws a route that avoids metal signs and narrow alleys where sound traps. Leo asks to go. June says yes with terms. No talk unless needed. No rush. Hands on wood, eyes up at corners. We step off at first light. A gull lands on a pole and the bolt sings. 4 figures turn and wait. We pass under a wooden arcade and our steps vanish. At the clinic, the deputy posts. We use a flat pry and a wedge at the latch. The frame creaks. I wrap the bar with a towel and push again. The tongue slips. We go in. It is cold. A generator ran here before it died. We take bandages, tape, saline, syringes, and 2 antibiotics we can dose. June checks dates and leaves what she cannot verify. In the stairwell, a voice whispers help. We freeze. It repeats, weak but human. We follow it to a supply closet wedged by a chair. A young man lies on the floor, pale, breath shallow, leg wrapped in a belt above a soaked bandage. June checks eyes and finds a fast pulse. The cut is deep but clean, not a bite. "We carry," she says. We rig a sling with a blanket and 2 mop handles. Leo takes the front, I take the back. The deputy watches the hall. We move slow and shift grip so wood does not squeal. Outside, the street is empty, then not. 2 figures at the far end turn together. We step behind a planter and hold air. They drift past, noses up. At school, we clear a cot. June cleans the cut, starts a line, and tells him what she is doing. He nods and says his name is Thomas. He was looking for his sister. He asks to help when he can walk. June says yes, and he sleeps. We close day 5 at dusk with a count and a quiet check. We do not promise what we cannot deliver. We ask for eyes and hands. The timer on the footbridge clicks twice and then stops. And when it stops, the metal sign at the market shivers and the fence down the block starts to hum. On day 6, we start with the same 3 questions on the gym floor. What changed, what broke, what hurts? Thomas can sit and help with hands only. Leo finished a clean map with thick pencil lines, 2 cache marks. Each cache holds tape, cord, 2 batteries, gauze, a marker, and a razor. Water is short. Roof runoff will not cover a week if the weather stays dry. The field spigot is dead. We pick a lake route and plan a lift with quiet tools. A shop dolly takes 1 plastic barrel. Leo tapes the wheel hubs so they will not squeal. We walk on grass where we can, we talk with hands, and we keep metal away from metal. At the lake, we do not step on docks. Hardware sings. We kneel on shore, dip with a food-grade bucket tied to cord, and add a label and a few drops of bleach. We pull a canvas over the barrel and roll home on our toes. A jogger stands near the path with arms slack and head tilted. The dolly clicks on 1 stone and his head turns. A gull hits a buoy and the bell tone pulls him away. We pass. June pasteurizes with a thermometer to save fuel. People ask about the big stove. She says noise and smell draw trouble. We post a load schedule on the wall. Charge at dawn, boil mid-morning, radios midday, lamps at dusk. No one turns on a tool without a second set of eyes. We test a throw lure. Leo bolts a small steel plate to a cord and slips a nut through a hole so it rattles. In the alley, the sound is sharp. 2 figures turn at once. We learn. We need distance and delay. Leo says he can make a spring winder with a toy motor and a hand crank. Build slow, I tell him, and hide the click. Near dusk, the deputy brings news. A group at the circle by the substation is stopping cars and taking fuel. Armbands. They call themselves Directive 9. He says stay clear. By the 7th day, 2 goals: the farm store for bleach, gloves, buckets, and the vineyard cold room for food. The vineyard ran ammonia. If valves leak, we stay out. If not, we move fast and quiet. We split at first light. June and Thomas take 2 and move hedges and backlots. Leo and I take 1 more and cut along the service lane. We do not touch bay doors. Sheet metal can sing. The vineyard gate is open. A delivery truck sits crooked by the dock. Clear fluid runs down the slope and stings the nose. We stand upwind and test air with a strip. It turns green at the cold room door. We climb to the roof hatch, lift it, and wait until a second strip stays white. Inside, we move slow. We take cheese, cured meat, nuts, sealed dried fruit, and oil. We leave wine. Wind bangs the truck door. 3 figures turn in the vines and begin to push rows down. We load 2 dollies and cut across grass, not gravel. We slip the back gate and take the long way home. We arrive at noon. June's team brings bleach, gloves, buckets, and a hand sprayer. She tapes a decon note at the gym. Boots off, rinse, hands wash. I hang a screen drying line. Cats prowl. A man asks for wine. June says no and points to the triage board. He stops. That night, the bridge buzzer dies. Battery flat. The 3 who always stood there drift toward a loose gate hinge and push until it stops. We add a line to the board. Check lures daily. Replace cells. On day 8, the rail tunnel south of town may hold people and tools. It also amplifies sound. We plan mats for soft steps, chalk for marks, and a pace that leaves breath to listen. Our lamps stay red and low. Inside, air is cool and wet. A freight car sits half in the bore with a bent coupler and bright scrape marks. A cross passage holds a tool cage. The padlock is cheap. We slip it and take a first aid tin and 2 headlamps. We mark the rest for later. At the far mouth, a broad metal note rolls in from the road like a dumpster lid. 2 figures step into the tunnel and stand, heads tilted, waiting for a second hit. When it does not come, they drift out. We leave by the south side and climb the service road. Lesson holds. Echoes make small sounds big. Pairs wait for a second hit. No second hit, they lose interest. A farmer waves us down at his gate. He wants bleach. We trade a small bottle for potatoes and ask about the armbands. He says Directive 9 took fuel from his cousin and hangs metal chimes at the circle to stack a crowd. We mark chimes on the map. By the 9th day, we need to reach the dam, and the circle sits in our path. We cannot fight rifles in the open. We go with empty hands, a small battery, 2 radios, and a laminated load schedule. We keep it short. Quiet power helps. Loud light kills. At the circle, 2 trucks sit crosswise with sheet metal hung from racks. Wind moves the plates and they hum. 4 men and 1 woman run the stop. The woman steps forward, rifle reel, eyes clear. She says the road is closed unless we join Directive 9 and help them secure the substation. A shaved head man wants fuel. I hold the schedule and speak even. A small island at the dam is possible if we fix the exciter and control a few loads. Loud gear draws the dead. Quiet watts save lives. The shaved head laughs. The woman looks at me. "What do you want?" she asks. "A pass and a radio check at set times," I say. "If we bring a small grid up, we post schedules." "No pass without fuel," the shaved head says. June offers a radio on loan and a morning proof. The woman points at the water tower. "If I hear a beacon at dawn, come back," she says. "If not, don't." We nod and leave slow. At the school, Leo wants the tower. Thomas can belay. June sets dawn and lists rope, harness, pulley, beacon, radio, small panel. We build a 1-watt Morse beacon on a timer and test once under a blanket. It works. On day 10, we move at first light. Wind is low. I tape the first rung so boots will not squeal. Leo climbs on a line. Thomas belays. June scans the road. At the top, we bolt a small panel through rubber grommets, tie a dry box with a radio to the rail, and run wire to the beacon. I key the mic once and lock the timer. Duty cycle stays short to avoid a draw. June calls from below. 3 figures turned at the first tone and drifted off when it cut. We pack and climb down. We coil rope and leave nothing shiny. At 9, we return to the circle. She heard the beacon at dawn, and at 8, she grants a pass and a talk at dusk. The shaved head glares and asks for fuel. She says no. We walk past the trucks with open hands. We do not touch the plates. The dam road is clear. The small powerhouse sits under a concrete lip. A chain blocks the drive. We pat it and lift. Inside, the control room is dusty but intact. Mr. Hollis stands in the doorway with a wrench. He knew we would come. He is lean and gray. He has a hand crank, field supply, and spare fuses. We walk the penstock, check gates, and agree to speak each step. The exciter died 2 summers ago. We can build a simple regulator if brushes and windings test clean. Hollis points to a bin of resistors and a diode bridge. We clean the commutator, test the field on the crank, and see a small rise on a meter. It is real. We plan a slow start tomorrow with a dummy load and the SDR as a scope. No promises to houses until the machine holds steady. On the way back, a truck arrives at the circle with jerry cans. The shaved head greets them like friends. The plates hum when the wind shifts. I hate those plates. They pull the dead and bind the living. June says, "Make the dam the anchor." I say, "We keep it quiet." We reach the school at dusk, wash, eat, and check the log. I write, day 10, beacon live, pass granted, dam ready for slow start, conflict pending. People lie on mats. The beacon clicks once on time. From the far end of the hall, a vent cover shifts and rings one clean note. On the 11th day, we set rules at the powerhouse. Speak each step. No loose parts near the rotor. No metal on metal if we can pad it. Hollis opens a cabinet and points to the old exciter. Brushes are worn. We clean dust, wipe with alcohol, and check insulation. The field reads steady. The stator looks honest. We have a shot. We rig a dummy load from heater coils and a water barrel. I clip the SDR to a pickup and watch a sign. We spin up with a hand crank on the wicket gate. Hollis watches gauges. June reads a checklist. I watch the scope. The first wave eases. At a small opening, we see stable output. Hollis smiles without teeth and says, "Hold it." We hold 10 minutes. We add a small rectifier and feed a battery bank and float. The meter crawls up. By noon, we have a rule. No house loads today, clinic and school only, and only on a posted schedule. We run a line to the school through a conduit the county left for future lights. Leo and Thomas bury the cable at shallow depth and mark it with tape at knee height. We bring up the school on a small inverter. Lights stay low. Fridge runs in bursts with a timer. We test one outlet per zone and lock the rest. I call the woman at the circle on the radio. She does not give a name. I give a number, 2 hours for sterilization and pump, sunset 1 hour in the gym. She says, "Prove it," and we do. At dusk, the gym glows. People wash. A child laughs at a toaster. We cut at the mark and the room goes dim without complaint. They saw the schedule and heard why. June posts "What's her choices" on the wall. That night, wind rises, a plate at the circle hums. A reply hum answers from the lakeshore where a broken mast swings. The tones build. I hate plates. By day 12, we harden the dam fast. Hollis shows bolt holes where a fence used to stand. We do not rebuild a fence that will sing. We stack tire walls and trench a silent path to the water. We pad every hinge with rubber. I tune the exciter for a smoother start. The regulator is a rheostat and a hand. It works if we move slow. We keep a man on it when the unit runs. Hollis can sit there for hours. He hums soft. June takes 2 to the clinic to sterilize gear now that we can heat water on a schedule. She comes back with a short list. 3 fevers, 1 bite we cannot fix. She posts the rule. People nod. At noon, a small truck rolls up to the circle. Not shaved head. 3 new faces, polite voices, hands visible. They want a meeting at the substation to coordinate resource safety. June looks at me. I say we meet on our ground, not theirs. The woman on the radio agrees to a talk at our fence line near the school. They arrive with 2 rifles and a flag. The woman leads. She asks for a load share. Lights at the circle for civic order and fuel pump time at a station they claim. I offer a swap. No lights at the circle, a clean water fill twice a day, and radio check windows so we do not fight air time. I say loud light draws death and we will not power bait. She studies me, then asks to see the dam. I say tomorrow with 1 escort. We end with a thin handshake. The shaved head spits near my boot. June watches his hands and not his face. Leo counts their ammo with his eyes and whispers a low number later. He is probably right. Night brings a pattern we do not like. Metal sings at the circle, then down the block, then back. A lure can be a trap you forget you set. On the 13th day, we run the unit at dawn. Hollis rides the rheostat and keeps frequency steady by feel. I balance loads. We give the clinic 30 minutes for sterilization, then water pasteurization, then a rest, then lamps at dusk. The rest stays pencil lines. At mid-morning, the woman and 1 man walk to the dam. They hand over rifles at the path. Hollis sits them in the office and pours boiled tea. We show the unit and the dummy load. We talk risk. We talk rules. She listens and takes notes. The man looks bored. When we finish, she says she will try to hold the line on her end. She cannot promise. I say we will cut power at any sign of bait. On the way up, June's radio clicks twice. She sees a crowd near the school fence and hears a tin ring at the corner. I ask her to tell Leo to cut the buzzer. She does. Back at the school, a man pounds a sign. Power here at dusk. That is a lie. June takes the sign down and says it once. Do not promise what we do not control. He backs away. The woman from Directive 9 watches, then leaves without a word. At dusk, we power the gym for 1 hour. The beacon clicks at the tower on time. Plates at the circle hum. I stand on the roof and listen to tones pull like a tide. Hollis stands with me. He says they ran lights to fish when he was a boy. Fish learn, people don't. By day 14, we test a cycle for houses. 10 minutes an hour for fridges on a timer might save food, but it risks spikes. We choose 2 houses with good wiring and careful owners. We pull their mains, isolate the house, and connect through a safe switch. We run the unit and let the timer feed each house for 10 minutes. Compressors settle. No big swing. No flicker at the clinic. We cut after 4 cycles. It works. We post a rule. House slots by draw, not by name. A boy watches the clock and asks if his family gets a slot. I show him the list and the notes on wire size. He nods and leaves a jar of screws as thanks. June smiles. Near noon, a cry rises from the far side of the field. A small group runs with backpacks. A larger group walks in a line behind them, heads down, arms swinging, not human. The runners hit the fence and scream. The line behind them speeds up. We grab mats, open the light door, and pull 3 in. The fence bends. We throw a mat over the wire and kill the ring. The line slows, presses, and waits. June yells quiet without shouting. We lie flat and wait. It takes a long time. 2 of the 3 are siblings. The third shakes and stares. No bites. We keep them in quarantine and give water and soup. Factory, he says. We learn a group tried to take a warehouse. The noise drew a storm. At dusk, the woman from Directive 9 calls. Someone cut their chimes. I say, good. She says, it wasn't us. I say, keep them down. She sighs. Wind picks up and a mast at the marina sings. The line at our fence shifts toward the lake, as if the sound pulls a string through their chests. On the 15th day, storm threat. We secure the dam. We strap the panel, tie down the beacon box, and coil slack. We test the rheostat and the brushes. We mop oil. We tape every loose label. We collect water. Roof gravel flushes grit. We set first run to ground and second to tanks. We pasteurize after. June checks the sick. 3 coughs, no fever. The bite we cannot fix is calm and lucid. He writes a note. June sits with him. By afternoon, clouds spin dark. Wind strikes a flag and the pole rings. Figures move under the trees. The storm hits at dusk. Rain scrubs scent. For 1 hour, the world hides us. We run the unit at low load and fill tanks. We cut all else. The bite man dies. June tells the truth at dawn and asks 2 to help move him. We do not keep bodies. We mark a place and stack stone. We burn nothing here. Fire is a flag. In the morning, she says a station to the west lit a lot with a diesel tower. It drew a flood and now the road is gone. She says, you were right, and then they will blame us anyway. I tell her our schedule for the day and ask for quiet near the circle. She says she will try. By day 16, we try a bigger step. We add the autoclave and a small pump for 20 minutes. Hollis rides the rheostat and calls numbers. I call loads and cut fast at any wobble. The sign on the screen stays honest. We hold frequency and we draw a wider map for the day. 2 houses per hour for fridge slots, clinic at top of the hour, school lamps at dusk, water at dawn, no power at the circle, no exceptions. We post the list at the circle. The shaved head tears it down. The woman puts it back up and says it stays. The siege starts at noon. We hear it as a low rub at the back fence and then a long press. The storm knocked a metal sign loose. It swings and taps at a post, a slow tick that builds. Figures stack on the sound. More come from the road. They press until the fence bows. We have choices: cut the sound, draw them down the block with a second lure, or reinforce and wait. If we send a lure, we risk a chase. If we reinforce, the metal may sing. We need the sound to die. Leo runs with a rubber mat and a rope. Thomas belays him from the roof. I take a hook pole. We slide the mat over the sign and tie it off. The note dies. The press slows, but the weight is still there. We brace the fence. We work quiet. A man from the quarantine stands and starts to talk about a plan in a loud voice. June puts a hand on his shoulder and says, "Later." He keeps talking. The fence creaks. June points to the floor and says, "Sit." He sits. Pressure eases after an hour. The line thins. The last few drift at a gull's call. We do not cheer. 2 posts are cracked. We sleeve them with wood. We write replace. At dusk, we power the gym. People eat. The boy with the screws reads the schedule like a prayer. The beacon clicks on time. The dam hums at idle. Hollis pours tea and says we can hold if we hold our rules. We sit in the dark and count breaths. Rain ticks on the taped windows. I mark what failed and what held. The mat worked, the brace held, and the lure we killed stayed quiet. We lost 1 panel to wind and a hinge to rust. Tomorrow we replace posts, move the cache, and shorten the power window 10 minutes. Hollis circles discipline on the board, prints it twice, and draws a line. Then the beacon clicks late by 4 seconds and everyone looks at the ceiling. At once. Then the radio pops with a voice we do not know. It uses my call sign and says my name, and the room goes still. On day 17, an unknown voice uses my call sign and name. June lifts a hand. I answer once, "Go." Rafe from the East Mill reports a crew selling diesel towers and safe nights. Towns lit, crowds gathered, dead followed, and the crew moved on. He thinks they now advise the circle. We tighten rules. No new loads without a test, no house slots without timers, no power at the circle, clinic and school only on schedule. June tapes it to 3 doors. Leo copies it for the fence. At noon, the woman from Directive 9 asks for fuel pump time and 1 light pole for order. I say no lights, no poles, no signs. Dark saves lives. She exhales. My people are tired. Mine want to live. We stop there. Leo and Thomas sleeve cracked fence posts with wood and rubber. We hang a stretcher gate and mark the floor route with tape at knee height. The cache moves deeper. The log stays simple. No bright, no bells, no bait. Near dusk, a father arrives with a girl in a bike trailer. Fever, dry mouth, glassy eyes. June starts fluids and says antibiotics later if signs match. By night, he is washing trays. Work calms hands. We check the dam. Brushes clean, bearings cool, beacon on time. The woman radios, someone cut their chimes, someone put them back. The shaved head tried to steal the beacon and failed. I say the beacon is for nets, not crowds. Crowds are all I have, she says. We end there. A siren wails once to the west, then dies. A loose plate rings and keeps ringing. By day 18, 3 tasks. Food and medicine runs, remove the last chime at the circle, test 2 delayed lures. Leo's lures chirp 10 seconds every 30 minutes inside foam boxes. Morning, we trade bleach for potatoes, onions, and wheat berries. The farmer adds a hand mill. Leo turns the handle and smiles. Bread changes rooms. June posts a no metal rule around it. The girl's fever drops. The father says thanks without words. Thomas drills 2 volunteers on the stretcher gate until it is boring. At 2, the woman requests a fence line talk. Shaved head and a 3rd man come. He says our schedule starves the circle. June says it keeps kids alive. The woman asks for the fuel pump at dusk. I say dawn, 30 minutes, no lights, no signs, no crowd. She nods. The shaved head glares. We pull the last chime and wrap the post so wind can't sing. The shaved head watches and smiles like he is counting, not quitting. At dusk, the first lure clicks under the bridge. 3 figures turn and drift that way. The fence stays calm. In the gym, bowls steam. The beacon ticks. Channel 9 spits a lie. School burned, clinic down. June writes lies on the board. We say it once in each room. Glass breaks in the front office. A note sits on the desk. Share. It reads like a threat. On day 19 before dawn, the bridge lure clicks early. Someone wound it off schedule. June, Leo, and Thomas reset and move it. I sit the dam with Hollis and cut house slots from 10 minutes to 8. The clinic gets a second heat window. The beacon shifts to odd-minute ticks to spoil habits. At sunup, we power the pump for the woman. 4 people, 3 cans, no shaved head. June makes a man kill his engine. Fuel burned here is food burned later. He shuts it off. We cut early when a crowd gathers. She nods. Right call. Leo marks a clean outboard on a half-sunk boat. The lake is a quiet road if respected. The deputy returns at noon. The shaved head will tax our gate. June posts the deputy at the dam with a radio. If you see trucks, say trucks. We move the fragile to the gym core, pad edges, lay a charged hose, tape windows, wedge a drifting door, and post a simple route to the kitchen exit. The stretcher gate opens smooth. A small drone buzzes the roof at dusk. We spot the operator in the hedge by the circle. He grins. The drone does not return. We log it, eyes above. Night brings 3 trucks with sheet metal skirts, rifles on rails. The shaved head stands on a hood, shouts about fair share and taps a plate. Wind sings. Heads turn beyond the circle. The woman watches and says nothing. That is a choice. We stay dark. No reply. The hum climbs. Bodies sway in the hedge. By day 20, the press stacks at the circle. Trucks creep backward to draw the line down the street. They think they can surf a wave they made. We hold the dam at idle for water. The gym stays dim. June runs the stair. Leo watches the roof. Thomas mons the stretcher gate. I sit the service door with a hook pole. At 2 the fence bows. We brace with wood, not steel. We slide a rubber mat over a new ring and tie hard. The press slows. June breathes on the radio. In, out, count to 3 and reads names. Calm works. At 3, a plate on a truck drops and drags. The metal screams. The line forgets our fence and chases the moving sound. Engines rev, bodies flood down the block. We do not cheer. At dawn, the street is torn and quiet. A plate hangs under a bumper. The woman limps to our fence with one partner. Water? June hands a jug. We will come for the substation, she says. Then we must hold the dam, I say. She nods and leaves. Morning brings the hard job. A quarantined man fades. June stays until he stops. We stack stone, wash, and work. No speeches. Afternoon is simple. Move the cache 1 room deeper, replace 2 lures, fix a hinge, pasteurize water. By evening, we decide to move. We cannot hold the school if men with plates plan a tax night after night. The mill is quiet, has water, and a friend. The lake is our road. Wind is light, moon sets early. We pick tonight. 2 boats, meds and batteries in one, food in the other. Oars wrapped, buckles taped, lines coiled. We launch from reeds. The delayed lure for the far shore sits ready. Cruise. June and I row meds. Leo and Thomas row food. 2 hold the gym with the deputy. We push at full dark when the beacon is about to tick. We stagger strokes so oars do not sink. Halfway, a faint ring rides the water from the far shore. Not steady, but real. We angle south to a cove that hides from the tone. A small motor coughs left of us, runs, dies, runs again. No light. Low voices. We hold and let them pass. Gas and fish and wet rope mix on the air. They fade. We pull. We slide into reeds and land on mud. We lift bags to a low wall and set the delayed lure. 10 seconds of chirp in 10 minutes. When it chirps, 2 figures near the point turn and drift away. We carry in that window, then stop and wait for the next. Lift, set, pause, listen, no rush. We stash the last bag as the chirp dies. We hide boats in reeds and tie low. We put hands on bark, not on tin, and step into trees. Rafe meets us by a stump with a red headlamp. He takes 2 bags and says the road to the mill is clear. The wheel jammed with branches, the building dry, soup hot, bunks for 5. Food makes rules easier to hear. We start and stop. A dull yellow dome glows through brush, blinks once, dies. That is a signal, not ours. We take the ditch around it and cut back to the road. On day 21, the mill sits low with a short run and a heavy wheel. Inside smells like wood, oil, and cold iron. We lock one door, check windows, and stack bags. June picks an office for a sick room. I open an old panel. Labels are clean. Rafe says the diesel crew lit a lot on the ridge, drew a crowd, then left with carts. He wants the wheel turning slow for water and a little light with shutters shut. We agree. We sleep a little, then eat thin soup. We pasteurize a pot for cloths. Leo wedges one loose latch. Thomas marks bad planks with chalk. Kids drink and sleep in a room that smells like grain and rope. We fix the wheel near dusk. Tail race jam. We rig a hand chain and pry branches one by one. No saw. Sound travels. Water changes tone. The wheel lifts and turns slow. We leave it to find pace. The beacon clicks across the lake. One more night, then dark if we move again. Signals help and harm. We balance both. Night brings a light patter. Rats drop and run. We cover bags in seal tubs. By day 22, we move the first group before dawn. Kids, one elder, meds, tool crate. June comes, I row. Leo and Thomas bring food. Rafe walks the bank with a rope. Breath shows in the cold. Boots ring on the old pier near the marina. Not ours. Buckles click. Voices carry. A man says the school has 2 pallets of cans and a radio worth taking. Someone close lied. We cannot fix it now. We land clean, hide tracks, and bring people through kitchen and gym. Tea, broth, no lamps. Back again. The moon drops and the lake goes black. We slow to keep oars from sinking. On the third run, a plate tone erupts at the marina. It climbs fast. The shore turns its head like one animal. The line steps toward the tone, not toward our cove. Maybe wind, maybe a friend, maybe luck. We take it and finish. At dawn, we decide the mill is the hold, the school the bridge. We will move in steps and leave the school ready for the last to leave. Water, food, bleach, a taped path to the kitchen door, and one plain note. We do not leave light. Final schedule. 2 heat windows for the clinic, 1 lamp hour for the gym, half house slots, no night power, no beacon. The woman hears it and says nothing. We close the log for day 22 with 2 lines. We pull to water. Under it, June writes, we do not power bait. We set habits that hold. At lights out on day 17, we walk each room once, speak the morning plan in 1 sentence, and close doors so latches don't click. On day 18, a lookout sits at the roof hatch with a red filter and a paper log. Every 10 minutes they note wind, distant tones, and how many shapes drift on the street. After the drone, on day 19, we run a dark cord from the roof to a tree to spoil sight lines and tape over shiny door plates. On day 20, we practice a silent walk through the cafeteria route, hands on tape, heads low. It helps at night. On day 23, we leave the school at dawn. The last note stays taped by the kitchen door. Follow tape, quiet hands. The lake is the road. The deputy locks a cabinet and drops the key in a drain. No trophies, no bait. The mill wakes slow. Rafe shows a loft for sleep and a corner for quiet work. June lays out a sick room with 2 cots and a wash bowl. Leo checks the wheel and belts. Thomas clears the intake and stacks wood wedges. Food first. We grind wheat and make flatbread on a steel plate. We fry potatoes and onions in vineyard oil and save drippings. Soup and bread settle nerves. Portions stay steady. Kids first, workers next, then all. Water next. The wheel lifts to a header tank. We pasteurize in batches, label jugs, and log time in initials. Water starts clean or it doesn't start, June says. People repeat it. I string wire up the mill tower and hang a slim dipole inside the wood, no metal on the skin. The radio checks short and clear. The tower can carry a low power relay if duty stays short. We need reach to the dam and the school until the last move. We chalk bad floors, tape a safe path, and post the 3 questions. What broke? What changed? What hurts? Small jobs add up. At dusk, we test a shuttered lamp in the loft. Light does not leak. Kids read 12 minutes and sleep. June sits by the door with a pencil and writes a list for morning. By day 24, we scout food. A farmer points to a silo with cracked bands. Grain is a trap. We take boards and rope and move slow. Leo clips to a line. I spread boards for weight. We scoop from crust, not center. Air shifts, grain settles, a low hiss runs under our feet. We stop, wait, move again. 2 bags and we leave. A store by the bend still holds salt and tea. We pay with soap and bleach. Trade builds roots that hold. We build a root cellar in a shaded bank. We cut a trench, stack stone, Lay a wood lid and vent with 2 small pipes. It stays cool. Fish and meat will last longer here than in a dead fridge. We hang a drying net and a small cold smoke frame. Salt and smoke by days. Rafe brings news. 2 men asked about the school and dam. One wore an armband. He sent them to the circle. The shaved head is quiet, which is not comfort. I tune the relay plan. Tiny beacon at the mill, reply at the dam, low-duty ping at the tower, voice only in small windows. We write windows on paper and do not say them on air. We eat in shifts. A girl shows Leo how to braid cord into a strong strap. He wraps tool handles so they do not sing when dropped. People learn if you let them. Night is calm. The lake holds the dark. On day 25, we run a hop. The mill ticks at the top of the hour. The dam hears and ticks back. The tower replies on the half, short but clean. Hollis writes, "Power without light is still power." We set a quiet workshop, tools in cloth sleeves, 1 tote for loud tools with a paper chit. Need a saw, bring a second. Boring beats fast. Thomas oils hinges. The mill's voice drops. Food steadies. Flatbread, beans, smoked fish, greens. Leo builds a small rocket stove. Fuel drops, smoke thins. We boil without a plume. A trader brings coffee, nails, and wire. He wants a charge and a jug. We swap time on a small inverter for beans and nails. He says Directive 9 now takes a gate fee. We tighten routes. We scout a panel field at a closed farm, frames intact, wires cut. We take 2 small panels and leave a note with what we took and left. We will return with hands. At dusk, Rafe teaches a knot that holds under load and breaks clean. We tie lures with it. June marks teach and test on the wall. By day 26, we move the last from the school at dawn. The deputy locks doors with wedges. We leave a small cache by the kitchen, marked in pencil with bleach, salt, and a map to the mill. The woman calls. The shaved head will move on the substation within days. She cannot stop him. She asks if we plan to hold the dam. I say yes. She will keep trucks off our road during our move. Then silence. The lake is glass. We push 1 more run and sweep the gym. No speeches. We leave the tape line on the floor. It looks like a room, not a camp. At noon, we reach the mill with the last bags. June checks hands, wounds, and water. She posts a meal plan for a week and work blocks for 2 days. People ask. She answers short and fair. I mount the relay inside the wood tower. No shine. The beacon ticks once on schedule. Hollis replies. It feels like a small line between 2 islands. We try a tiny fridge on a timer for meds only. 10 minutes every 2 hours. It holds. June sits for 1 minute. Night brings a voice on the ridge, slow and clear, reading names we do not know. We do not answer. We note tone, words, wind, and time. We sleep light. On day 27, we walk quiet roads and check farms. We trade filters for salt. A woman gives jars and lids for flour. She asks if the dam makes light. I say water, yes. Light, no. She nods. Light makes crowds. We pull 2 nets in a cove and smoke fish. The cellar takes them cold and dry. Food stops being a crisis and becomes a job. Leo builds a pedal rig from a bike stand and an alternator. It hums low and makes a trickle of charge. He pads the feet. The room stays quiet. He grins. Rafe spots 2 watchers on the ridge. One wears an armband, the other carries a scope. We shift routes for the week and work more under trees. The relay holds. The dam speaks to the mill and the tower. I draw a diagram and tape it to the panel. If I am down, someone else can run it, Hollis insists. June treats a cut and teaches the owner to change the wrap and watch edges. She shows how to pasteurize with a pot and a thermometer. The woman repeats it and says she will teach her son. We close day 27 with a count. Food steady, water clean, wounds small, radio live. The wheel turns, the tower ticks. The lake stays dark. It feels good for 1 hour. And then Leo comes down from the loft and says a truck is on the ridge with plates strapped to its sides, and a light flickered once where the substation sits behind the trees. We also test a siren decoy made of a bent saw blade inside a box driven by a spring Leo salvaged from a toy. It chirps for 5 seconds, then rests 30. Figures tilt their heads when it sings and they drift when it stops. We log it as safe if placed far from fences. Day 28. We watch the ridge before dawn. The truck with plates idles once, then moves east. A glow at the substation flickers and dies. Hollis says someone is testing without a plan that draws crowds and breaks gear. We agree to set our own plan before they ruin the yard. We write the mission in steps. Scout the yard, mark hazards. Open a quiet path from gate to control house. Pull their plates without letting them sing. Seed 3 lures far from us. If a crowd forms, we walk it away and cut through behind it. Goal: take the control house long enough to reroute a feeder and kill every tone they can make there. No speeches. June assigns roles. Hollis rides the rheostat at the dam and keeps the mill on water only. Rafe holds the mill. Leo and Thomas go with me. The woman at the circle promises no trucks on our road until dusk. We pack quiet. Rope, wedges, tape, hook poles, padded cutters, chalk, a paper 1 line, radios low, no bright anything. We tie boots and check gear item by item. We take the lake to a cove below the yard and move through brush. The south fence is cut, then wired back with baling wire. We widen it and pocket the wire. Inside, gravel looks clean, but steel hums with wind. Leo points to a mast guy that ticks. We wrap it and it stops. Thomas marks our path on the map with short lines. The control house door is chained but not locked. Inside smells like dust. Panels hang open. A diesel inverter sits on a crate with jumper cables. That box will light plates and ring fences. We kill it, pull the cables and tape the ends. We speak each move, knife in, cable out, tape on, box shut. We list loads, pick 1 feeder, and route a small backfeed from the dam for the mill only. We do not power town. We do not light a pole. This is a test, not a miracle. Boots crunch near the gate. We wait. The woman tells someone to hold trucks back. A man mutters about taxes due. She says not today. Boots walk away. We pull the plates. Bolts turn under a cloth. Panels swing on lines so they never ring. We stack them in dirt. We find a rack of horns and pull fuses, wrap each bell and set them face down. Hollis calls a steady number. The relay closes and the scope reads smooth. We cut and log. We leave the yard as we found it. We fade through willow and rose slow. The lake stays flat. Back at the mill, we say the plan for tomorrow in 1 line. We go light at the yard at dusk, cut their noise, hold the house, and wait for the shaved head to make a mistake. Day 29. We sleep in shifts. Before dawn, the deputy spots 2 trucks near the circle with rails up and plates missing. The woman radios at 6 and says the shave wants the yard tonight. I say we will be there first. We move tools to the cove and hide the boats in reeds. Leo checks the spring lure and stretches the delay to 30 minutes. 30 buys time to cross a lot. We reach the yard at gray light. Someone hung thin plates on the north fence. Wind makes them sing. They want a storm. We will give them silence. We repeat yesterday's work, faster. Lines on plates, bolts padded, horns wrapped, fuses out, inverter dead. We leave no shine. At noon, the woman arrives with 2, no shaved head. She says the diesel crew will meet him at dark. She asks if the dam can hold a bigger test. Hollis says no town loads, only our line when we say. She nods and asks us to keep our people down tonight. We pull back to the cove and eat. We sharpen hooks and check ropes. We speak escape routes. In trouble, we go to water, not roads. We wait. Tonight we wait for noise. Day 30. We stage at noon. The wheel turns, radios low, kits checked. June packs gauze, tape, 2 IV bags, and a splint. Leo pads cutters and wraps a hook pole. Thomas tapes a map to a board. Rafe checks oars. I read the plan once. We slip to the substation an hour before dusk, take the control house and keep it dark. If the shaved headlights plates, we cut them. If horns sound, they fail. If a crowd forms, we feed a tone on the far side, then leave by water. No shouting, no heroics, no lights. At 4, the woman radios 5 trucks and the diesel crew just left the circle. She cannot stop them. Hold your people back from the road, I say. She agrees. We row to the Willow Cove. We move through our cut in the fence and put the wire back. Leo and Thomas go for horn racks. I take the inverter. June and Rafe watch the gate. Inside, the control house is warm. Someone ran gear in the morning. I pull jumpers, tape ends, and tag the handle. Horn fuses drop into a sand bucket. Plate bolts turn easy with oil and cloth. We lower each sheet to dirt on ropes so nothing sings. Engines rumble on the road. June taps twice. 2 trucks roll up and stop. Voices carry. The shaved head wants light and a crowd. The diesel crew wants fuel and a clean test. Those wants do not match. He hits a horn. It fails. He smacks it and swears. He orders a boy to check fuses. The rack is empty. He points at the control house and sends 2 to pop the door. We stand with empty hands when it opens. No light here, June says. No bait. He laughs and pushes in, flips the inverter. Nothing. He glares at me. I say, water runs, noise dies. He grabs my shirt. Rafe drops a hook on his wrist and lowers it. We step back and wedge the door. He hits it once with a bar. The bar rings. Heads lift along the ditch as if pulled by a string. Outside, the diesel crew fires a small tower to prove a point. A thin tone rides the yard and leaks into the road. Figures rise and face it. They walk. The crew kills the tower, but the line keeps moving. Sound starts habits. Mass finishes them. I key twice. Hollis closes a relay at the dam. A feeder carries a low hum to an old mast at the far edge of the yard. The note is steady, not loud. The line turns as one. They drift toward the mast and away from the gate. We move now. Thomas keeps cloth under tool heads. Leo hangs a spring lure on the fence at the corner with a 30-second chirp. We leave by the cove cut and slide into reeds. A plate under a truck bumper scrapes the gravel and screams. The crowd surges that way. The truck stalls under weight. We sit under the willow and count. The shaved head climbs on a hood and waves his arms. The line ignores him. The diesel crew sees the shift and backs out. One of them meets my eyes across water and lifts a palm. Not threat, not promise, just leaving. Hold 10, then cut, I tell Hollis. 10, he says. We float. The mast presses the fence, then the mast, then the truck. Metal groans. We do not speak. At 8 minutes, the spring chirps and buys us space. At 10, the hum dies. The line slows and stands, lost again. We row away. We stash the boats and coil lines under tarp by the reeds. We land at the mill in full dark. June tapes a new map. Dam, mill, 2 houses, clinic. We bolt panels shut and bury tails. We take the last plates. We do not feed signs, she says. Heads nod. Rules hold. Near midnight, boots tap on the road above the mill. No engines. Rafe wakes me. We wait at the loft with poles and low lamps. A small group stops. No armbands, no rifles. A woman carries a boy. They stand a minute, then walk toward the water. We follow with rope, not guns. Name? June asks. Marla, the woman says. Daniel, she adds, touching the boy's head. No bite, no fever. We bring them in, wash hands, warm tea, bread. The boy sleeps with a cup in his hands. Rafe smiles for the first time in a week. Before dawn, I sit by the wheel. Water runs like breath you can trust. The lake is black and flat. The tower beacon clicks on time. We can keep small promises if we protect the rules. At first light, I call the woman once. The yard is yours if it stays quiet. No plates, no horns, no towers. We will help route water and a pump. We will not power a crowd. She answers after a long pause. Understood, she says then. He's gone. I do not ask how. We write the day plan in chalk. Clinic first, water next, lamps at dusk, mill steady, dam guarded, lake dark. Leo draws a new line for 2 careful houses. Hollis writes on the board, Watts are choices. We all sign under it and start work. Stay safe, keep the lights low and the noise lower. Want part 2 the next 30 days? Tell me in the comments. If you're into this kind of story, please subscribe, tap the bell, and leave a like so the series continues. Share the video with a friend who loves Blackout survival tales. Comment where you'd set up, what gear you'd trust, and which rules you'd keep. I'll be in the replies. Until then, mark routes, wrap tools, and keep radios ready. Thanks for watching. The lake stays dark, but the story doesn't. See you in the next log. Stay tuned.